like to thank you all for being there today on one of our other webinar that we're doing. Today, our real goal for the webinar is to show you and present to you one of our new tool, or one of our tools, sorry, that we have, the Planning Assistant, and we're really proud to show you our new version of the Planning Assistant today and explain a little bit what's going to be the benefit, where it can help you, and that kind of stuff that's going to go through. So today's presentation will be really regardless that. Before I start, just to let you know that if you have questions, if you have some comments, inside of the Zoom meeting, there should be a Q&A button. So anytime you can click on it, write down your question. We have somebody that's going to spy and make sure that we're able to respond to your questions or comments that you can have towards that session. So, and for startup, as we always do a little bit in our webinar, and I think it's really important to really topic a little bit about this, is talk a little bit about who we are, just a little bit about us. Who is WebCab? Where we're from? Why are we talking about technologies that are designed directly for the woodworking? Where that all that mentality came from and started with. So what's really important to understand is that WebCab has over 18 years of experience in the woodworking industry. So the reason why we have that years of experience in woodworking, because when we started our business, we started as being resellers of CAD/CAM products. So we were directly in the woodworking industry, selling CAD/CAM system to help the companies, the companies to do their drawing, their engineering, sent down to the CNC. As time passed by, customer had specific needs to respond on some issue they had. They could be on the planning level, could be on the tracking level, and other aspects. And we started to look around a little bit in the industry, trying to find stuff that could help the customers, that was designed for the woodworking, but we really not really find anything that was a tool that was specified for that industry, but more generate tools. So this is where we started. We decided to start to create our own platform that would be only designed, and not being a generic aspect that we're trying to fill in the woodworking industry, but really designed for that industry and to solve issues with this industry. So the way we were selling it, if you were customers of ours, then we showed you and talked to you a little bit about the product and sold you the tools that came in. But it's not really before 2014-15 that we really started to promote more about WebCab and the solutions that we're doing everywhere around North America, not just in our own area that we are actually. What's really important to understand with WebCab is the way that we do our development. 60% of our development needs comes from the industry, comes from your aspect, your solutions, things to solve your issues that you're having in your day-to-day. So it's really important to understand it's not because we're not doing it today that we won't be able to do it tomorrow, because we're there to really work as a tool and create a tool that's going to fit for you guys. And 40% comes from new technology. So we can use new aspect of technology being as RFID, LED lights, or even aspect of doing things from other industries that can help our industry to grow. So our goal is really to have a tool that is designed for you guys in the woodworking industry, and it's going to continue to be built for the woodworking industry and solve your issue in your day-to-day. Now, what's really important to understand is that we have mostly two big platforms when we're talking about Planning Assistant, Production Assistant, or Coach, that some of you guys already know or maybe have already in their shop. But today, we really want to concentrate ourselves into the tool that we call the Planning Assistant. What is our tool to be there to help you manage and plan your day-to-day aspects? So we know that doing scheduling is pretty complex, because you do have some shop activities, like you do have some office activities, and you have to make sure that everything goes and fit together depending of your material, depending of the type of job that you're doing, and making sure that everybody needs to do the right thing on the right time. So this is where we come in with our tool. Our main goal is to be able that everybody works on the same synergy, on the same level, and everybody's informed when they have to do something and when they have to complete it. And not just on the shop level, but also on the office level. And that's what we want to show you today, how we can help you solve these kind of issues and how we can help you in this aspect. So really our goal is to help you manage your shop or your office activities and knowing your capacity, making sure that everybody knows when they have to complete a task. So that's the most important thing, because we know that sometimes in the office, stuff can stay on the line and get delayed towards that, but and then you're reducing your time into the shop for doing your production and make it happen. So being able to really know when it's your deadlines, not just in the factory, but also on the office side of things. Collaborating with the team, that everybody knows what level we are, where we are with the product and our with the job, sorry, and knowing what advancement we are and when something is being completed or not at this level. So let's start right now with the planning assistant. So what I want to show you today, it's really our new tool, like I said, the planning assistant that has been redesigned, that is completely 100% on a web-based aspect. So that's the first thing that's really interesting, is that you're going to have access to it everywhere that you want to, and not necessarily just into your office. So you can access it towards your mobile tablet or on site and be able to view your different views that's going to go through. So what you're seeing right now is what we call our delivery view. So you're able to see all your deliveries and manage when thing has to be delivered. And it's the same thing that can be managed at the installation level. As you can see, every work order is being showed and it's color coded. So you can know exactly what step has been completed of that job or where it is inside of the factory. So when a step is completed, automatically it's going to show the color that you designed of that step that has been completed. It's going to show you the advancement of the project. So you can see how much of the job has been done and what needs to be completed or not towards that job. And when you go inside of a project, what's interesting, well, you can have access directly to the map. So if you want to have the address where you need to go or to chat the direction, you can add in comments, information, but you can also attach documents to a project that you can share with everyone that you want into your factory. So if I click directly here, I can see directly my documents of a project and share and see my visual aspect of what it is. So you're able really with the calendar to have all these information of the project that goes through. The calendar has been designed, the way that we design it is really to work in with your tools that a lot of people are familiar with using, like the Lookout of Google Calendar or Outlook. So we really design it to be a simple visual aspect for people that are used to. And the system is really what we call a drag and drop aspect. So if you want to move a delivery date or you want to move an install date, you just have to go in and be able to drag and drop directly your tools as you want towards that. So other little thing that's important about it, about the calendar that you're able to see, is that we can change and see it as a week view. We are able to see it also as a day view, a list, all these tools all these visuals that you're used to use directly inside of the Outlook or inside of the Google Calendar aspect views that you can see inside of that. So we're able to really manage all your deliveries, as you're able also to manage your installers if you want to, and see exactly who has to work on what job on what day. And you're able to only view, if you want to, on a level of one person to know what job they need to do in, and be able to track it as a time level if you want to in your day of your aspect. Other little thing that's important right now is me being like the master, I'm seeing all the different calendars, but you can assign the calendars that you want your user to see directly inside of that. So you don't have to show it to, you don't have to display all the calendars view for everyone. You can really specify who's going to see what type of calendar that you want to. Now, that being said, being able to manage your deliveries, your install, the base aspect towards that, and knowing what is the advancement of it, the other thing that we want to be able to do now is being able to manage what is your activities. So that's what we call the activities level, the progress level. All these activities can be office activities, like it could be shop activities or progress. You decide exactly what you want at that level at these stations. So all of these levels are all personalized. So you being there, you decide what you want to see and at what level you want what activities you want to create, and you want to follow it towards that. Other thing that's important is when you create a project, directly inside of the calendar, it's going to create to you the work order to your direct activity date when it needs to be done. And the way that we do it is that we're working towards a back scheduling level. So what that means is that Once we create a project, we're going to assign a template, and inside of that template, we will create a recipe that will say, when it's a melamine job, I want to be sure that, let's say, my engineering is done 10 days before my delivery. But when it's a wood job, I want to be sure that my engineering is done 15 days before my delivery. So you create these templates, and this is how it automatically when that task has to be done in the calendar. I see, Sarah, that there's a question that went in.
Yes, we do have a question. How is the percentage calculated, and is customer survey optional since it shows at 100% at invoicing color?
Okay, so again, all these steps that you're seeing right here on the left, just to respond towards that, they're all stations that you can decide to create. So some people saw the invoicing customer survey is because we decided as a company that we wanted to create these activities and put a deadline when it needs to be done and make sure that this step is being done, because it helps us also to track when the aspect has been done at that level. So you decide on what project you want to apply this, on what project you do not want to apply that task using the different templates that you can create. Now, the percentage is calculated every time that a step is being completed. We'll upgrade the percentage of the job of how much it's been completed. And if you have production assistant or production coach, well, that all related together to upgrade the percentage of it. Wish this response to your question make it clear there. So if I will go back a little bit to my explanation about the back scheduling level. So really what's important is that we work as a back scheduling level. So we start from a delivery date or an install date, you decide. And from there on, we specify, depending on a recipe, when these different activities has to be done. And again, all these activities are personalized. You decide what you want to see in that column right here. An activity can also be created after an install date or after delivery date. As we're seeing right here at the invoicing level, well, I want to make sure that my activity is created 4 days or 2 days after I finish my installation date level. So you can also have activities that are attached after these dates and not just at the back scheduling, but it becomes also at a front scheduling also aspect if you want to towards that. So again, your activities could be step in the office before you do your production and steps that can be done in the office that is after the creation or the installation at the level of the customer. Now, what's important also with the system is once we create these jobs inside of it, we're going to allow you to see your capacity measurement. So it's really important to understand that the system, if you're over capacity or lower capacity, won't take automatic action, but will display to you your result towards that for you to have to take the good decision, on what you want to do on that level. So if I'm looking right here on my CNC level, I have chosen 2 aspects of capacity. We have more choice of capacity than this, but for that station, I wanted to measure myself by sheet and by numeric value. Normally, people numeric value will be a money value that they want to use as an aspect. So I can go in and select the day. See inside of my data, I'm supposed to do $8,000 per day that I want to do as a minimum, and see that this project is lower, but I'm inside of my sheet quantity. But I can also go and select the project to see what is the value of the project. But you can also go in and select the week, and automatically your capacity measurement is going to display to you if you're in target or not. So when you're green, you're in target. When you're red, you're below your objective. And when you're yellow, that means you're over capacity on a certain level for you to take the decision. So if I look at this week, I'm okay in the number of the sheet, but I know that my numeric value is a little bit higher. My money value may have more difficulty on the other aspect of the production. So you can take action or take decision as you want to. So the capacity measurement will take the information and really allow you to take that decision as you're going to go through. Now, from there on, how does the project come in directly inside the planning assistant? Well, if you do have the production assistant or production coach software, when you import a project, well, automatically it will create the project in the planning to allow you to know and create you the back scheduling steps that you want to. But as we want is not just, and as we know, sorry, when we're ready to put it in inside our production level, it's normally because the engineering is ready, the CAD/CAM has been completed. But what we want to do is to be able also to plan steps before this activity. So inside the calendar, you're able to create your own job. So you can work with just the planning tool and be able to create your own work order anytime that you want to. So if I go in and create a work order, I'm going to call webinar, -18. Then I'm going to select the template. This is where I select the recipe I want to use. So by selecting that recipe, this will create to me my back scheduling aspect and know exactly when activities has to be done at different level. You can also define it as being a project type if you want to. That will allow you to sort inside of your screen to just see project types that are I don't know, contractors or other aspects. Now, these are all the numbers of values or the capacity that you can use in the system to be able to validate yourself. So when I look at my different capacity, I can have the sheet quantity, numeric value. Often it's the money value, but it could be anything else. Square foot, product, store quantity, time per project, or parts. What's interesting, again, when you're hooked with a production assistant or production coach software and you're importing your CAD/CAM system being Microvelm, Wood CAD/CAM, Cabinet Vision data, well, we're going to update that information of numbers of product or numbers of part automatically from the CAD/CAM, so you don't have to rewrite these information. But even though if you want to create directly a project when a sale is being done, you can go in and type in some of these information if you want to. In our case, we're just going to put in the money value of the project. Then you can have the customer information. I'm just going to put in the automatic field, but you can have all the customer information and then specify what is going to be your delivery date, what's going to be your install date that you want to have inside of that. And from there, you can also directly here assign a shipper or even installers if you know them, or else you can come back and do it a little bit later. There's no problem with this. Then I'm going to jump into my next step. What's going to be interesting is that I'm going to see all my steps where my job will need to go and at what date it needs to pass. And I can see that there's one activity that is red because I'm already behind of doing it. If I create that job for that delivery, well, that activity right here is supposed to be done yesterday. I can go back, change my delivery if I want to, or just say, it's okay, I'm okay with this, and we're just going to move forward if you want to with that aspect. Automatically, this will create to you that work order that's going to come in inside of the calendar. So if I go inside of my delivery date, I should see directly here as being the job webinar that we just created. But what's also interesting is if I go in and select some of these views, let's say I'm just going to select these right here, well, automatically I'm going to be able to go in. I'm just going to do a search, webinar 1118, search it for me and display me. And now I can see that these activities has automatically been created of when they need to be done. So I can see my field measurement because it's yellow right here, that has to be done the 17. This one has to be done the 19, etc. It goes through. So it created to me all my activity when I need it. Other thing that's really interesting is that we can have notification. So I receive a notification to let me know that there's a new project that has been created inside of the system. So I can see and get informed every time that there's a new project being closed or created inside of planning if you want to be notified with this. Now, let's say now I'm the field measurement. So I'm going in, seeing when I need to do my field measurement that has to be done the 17th. So what's really interesting is that we want to get updated to know, hey, I started the job or I completed the job. So inside the planning tool, you can have what we call the start and complete button. So when I start my job, I can go in, click on start. Automatically, it will change my status to allow me to know that it's been started as an activity. When the field measurement completes this job, he's just going to go in, say complete. Automatically, it will change to say that the job has been complete and will move to the date that has been complete. Not necessarily planned, but always on the date that has been completed at that level. Same thing if I go inside of my engineering level, so I can say, hey, I started my engineering, save, and once it's been completed, I can go back and say completed, I have finished. my elements inside of that job. And this is how it updates directly right here, the delivery with the percentage. Because I started a job and I completed, you can see now that my job webinar is at 17% completed now because these activity has been done. So all your office tasks and everything like this can be just a start and complete button to let you know that it has been finished directly inside of that. The other thing that's really interesting is that you can receive notification again to let you know when something has been started or completed. So what's interesting is that you decide what station you want to know that has been started or completed. You decide all these configurations because you don't have necessarily to have all these notifications for everything. It's all personalized, as you know, but you're able to inform somebody that this job has been completed, it's ready for the next level or be treated at another step right there. Is there some question for now, Sarah, that came in? Yes.
Sorry about that, Joe. I can see that there's someone typing a question right now. Oh, here it is. Can you re-explain the concept of the recipes?
Yeah. So on the recipe, what's really important is that it's a template. It's different templates that you create that allows to create an event on all these steps, these progress of when they need to be done. So you create a template, let's say that you call the template Melanie, because it's when you have jobs that you just create a Melanie if you want to. And then you're going to define inside of that template when my activities has to be done. So as an example, in my melamine job, when I select that template, I want to have my engineering done 10 days before my delivery. I want my CNC to be done 8 days before my delivery. I want my assembly being done 5 days before my delivery. That becomes your template. Now you create another template that is when I have a wood job, and then it takes more time. So I have different dates of when I want it to be done. So now you're going to create that with that wood job saying, hey, when I select that recipe, I want my engineering being done 15 days before my delivery, and I want my CNC to be done 10 days before my delivery. So it's really it's your templates are really when you want these activities to be done at what level, and also to tell that job if it goes in that type of activity. So when I select my melamine activity, well, I will not have the finishing station to be shown because I don't want to have an activity on the finishing. When I'm doing melamine, there's no finishing to be done. But when I'm going to choose wood, then I'm going to add the finishing level on that recipe to let you know when it's being done there. So I wish this responds to your question a little bit.
There's a follow-up question on that one. Is there a maximum number of recipes that you can assign?
No, on a job, there's one recipe on your job that you can assign, okay? But you can create the numbers that you want. There's no maximum of it. It's all different templates that you want towards that. Yeah, and we can go a little bit deeper. I didn't want to go in that path, but you can create a recipe and have inside of that recipe to have different dates applied depending of the type of project. So when you're doing a melamine job and it's a contractor, you could have different dates than when it's a regular customer that comes in. But you have all these flexibility that goes in through. And normally customers, as we're going through, they have like maximum 5 recipes that they really create. When you look at it, it really turns our average around 5 recipes that they create, and that fits in that level. And what's really important, again, it's the key with this is giving you deadlines when thing has to be done. And one of the most important aspect where it helps a lot is mostly in the office. In the shop, normally, and that all depends on different mentalities, but in the shop, mostly when you do your CNC, you do your cutting, everything else follows. The edge banding, you want to process it fast. Your sorting, you want to process it fast, etc. That goes through. But where you don't want to delay it is pretty much in the office, your step when it has to be completed. And it could even be, I have some customers that have activities that has to be, the customer has to confirm, let's say, the customer has to confirm the color they want for 15 days before the delivery aspect. So you can really define these type of paths and make sure that the goals are getting respected at that level. So I wish this responds to that question also.
Yes, another one on the recipes. How do the timelines within the recipe process educate for different size projects?
So
Adjust,
again,
sorry, adjust.
yeah, again, what people will do is that inside of the, because we have a category called type of project. So you will have your melamine recipe, and inside of your type of project, they will create small, big, or I don't know, medium-sized project, and you can have sub dates if you want with these type of projects. So when you have a big project, you select that element called big project, and then it's going to increase your numbers of days at the back that you want to do. But at the end, it all turns around being like goal dates that you want towards your recipe.
The recipe section is getting a lot of questions. Can you adjust the template dates for individual jobs once the job is started?
Yeah. So when I created the job, automatically I had a second screen that allowed me to modify if I want to my dates of when it needs to be done. It can be effect, or you can also modify directly when the job is in. So when I'm looking at my CNC, and if I want to move around my CNC schedule and say, hey, I'm going to start my cutting, let's say the 19, well, automatically it's going to ask me, do you want to affect all the other station that follows the CNC to follow this step? If I want to, I can say move, and the system will readjust automatically these steps following this. So even if it's inside, you can go in and modify your job. It's a drag and drop. It's not fixed to these dates. The system suggests you when it needs to be complete, but you have full control. So again, it's a tool that it's there to help you to see what's happening towards that. The key is not to have all these automatic that you cannot move, that you're stuck with when you want to do modification, but the key is to give you a tool for you to see what's happening with your planning, to see your job and all these kind of things that goes through there. So like I was showing right here, we had activities that we saw how we could update directly, let's say the engineered. So I updated my engineering level by saying start complete directly there. And you can update also other activities as we're going to go through there. So one other thing that's interesting is that if you do have the production assistant, well, it's directly linked with it. So what you're going to see right here is I have my job that I have created directly inside. And let's say once my CAD CAM has been created, well, you're able to go in and do what we say a merge level. So what I'm doing right now is I'm merging all the data of the CAD CAM system and pushing in it right now into my planning job that I just created. So just to show you the synergy that we can have in between both software. So now what's happening is I have my job that had been created with all the production data that came out from the CAD CAM system, and where I can see my different numbers of part where it needs to go at different level. So when I go in now inside of my calendar, and let's say I select my edge banding machine, well, if I select my job, I can see that it updated automatically the numbers of part that's going to go to that CNC because it grabbed the information out of the CAD CAM system from the production level. So just to show you, if you do have the production, well, everything can work in synergy together to update the data. And if you have the production assistant or coach, when you're changing a status inside of that system, it will automatically change the status and update as being done inside the planning. But if you just want to use the planning, you can do it the same way. Go on the job, say it's been completed, started at the edge banding, and it's been completed at the edge banding, and that will update again the status of the job. So both way works. If you're just using planning, you can update all your status towards the planning. But if you want to use the power of the production assistant level, well, it is going to automatically update the level inside the planning. Yes, Sarah.
We have a few questions that came in, Jonathan.
Go ahead.
Instead of small, medium, or large projects, can we use actual production times required at each area to calculate the schedule?
If the time could be used, but it has to come in from your CAD CAM system. We can pull it out and to send the time inside of the planning, and it will be a measured capacity that will show the time. But the time won't affect your back scheduling level. The back scheduling level is really a template that needs to be created. So the time, we can use it from your CAD CAM if it's there, but it's only going to be used on the capacity level measurement.
Is there a way to assign volume measures such as square footage of a job or linear feet to set up the time allotments on the recipe?
Yeah, actually, we have the square foot. We are going to add also the linear feet as another aspect since it's been asked for that. But what you're seeing right here, it's all information we can use at this moment for a job. So the sheet, the numeric, the square foot. So the square foot's going to be calculated really on on the station of with the part that goes towards that product level, how much product items, the door quantity, time. Like I said, that can come in from the CAD/CAM system, or you can enter it manually by your station, and numbers of parts that can be used. And liner feet is one other thing that we're going to add as a menu also towards that.
The last question for the moment, can we track actual labor spent on the jobs in each area?
If you want to track the labor aspect spent on the job, that has to go through the production assistant software where we're tracking our start and aspect that goes through. The planning assistant is really there to help you to know when you need to start something and needs to know the objective and timeline needs to be created and help you also, you can see when it's been started or completed to inform you towards that. But if you want to have the manpower, how much time it took, it's really going to pass it through our system that we're going to call the production assistant. It's going to be pleased if you want to write to us to do you a presentation to explain more about that level of thing that can be done. So really what I wanted to show you right there is that that project came in directly from the CAD/CAM, from the production, that we update the data directly into the planning tool, and we're able to have all these information that's going to be displayed on that level, and the numbers of part, the capacity, the measurement is going to be updated on that level. And once again, you can have the notification to let somebody know when something has been started or completed, at what level it's been done. So you get informed of these tasks that can be done, and you can move around again your job, drag and drop if you want to change your different activities as they're going to go through, and that will update you also to let you know what is your percentage of your job, how much has been completed towards that. So that pretty much shows you a base of the key. Well, the key point today was to show you some basic about the planning assistant, what it can do for you, how it can help you, really to know your target goals when it needs to be done, knowing also your capacity measurement that go through, and having one tool that has everything inside for you to be able to consult and get the information that you need towards it. So that's really what we wanted to show you today with this. Now, if it's ready for these questions, as we can wrap it up a little bit with what we wanted to show you today. Is there some question? It's the last moment there to ask some.
Yeah, I have a few questions coming in right now. What happens if one step is delayed? Does the system tell you if it compromises your install date?
It won't compromise, but you're going to see directly inside the calendar when something is delayed and not done. So it's going to show you in red that it's not being completed, so you can take action towards it. But it won't move the rest or install. You're the one that's going to take the decision. Again, the planning tool is not creating no automatic task towards that, but allows you to see what's happening and take the right decision as you're going to do. But because it's not necessarily that you're going to delay the installation, you're probably going to do some action to be able to respect that installation date that you gave towards that. So it's to give you the tools to see what's happening and you're taking the right decision.
Another question, are there any reports that would set up system demands similar to what you would see with smart sheets?
Not sure to understand, but if we're talking about reporting or getting time or that kind of stuff, yes, we do have report tools. We do have dashboard tools. The key point was not necessarily to show it today, but if you want to have more information, would be to write to us and we can do more presentation and show you more details also with the production assistant tool that gives you a lot of what's happening into the floor aspect.
A precision came in on that question, referring to Gantt schedules.
Okay, towards the Gantt schedule aspect, no, we don't have the design towards the Gantt schedule, and we do not work in the Gantt schedule view. With this is really that we decided to work on the plan view. That's why we call it really planification instead of like what I use called Gantt with scheduling aspect. But it's really to show you when things has to be done and when it has to be completed, and not necessarily into a Gantt chart view displayed.
No further questions for the moment. We may want to just give a quick 20 seconds if anyone has any.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to wrap it up again, just going easy. So the key is really to have easy interface, simple to use, to know when you need to do knowing your capacity measurement, knowing also your office when thing has to be done, being informed with everybody when something has been completed, also having your deadline when thing has to need to be completed. And we wanted really to use tools that a lot of people are familiar with the industry, that looks like Google, that looks like Outlook, simplify the use of it as you're going to go through, and be able to collaborate with your team and get the information, share in one tool of all these information going through. I think you maybe have another question.
Yeah, very interesting question that just came in. Can this create daily schedules for each area?
Repeat that, Sarah.
Sorry. Can this create daily schedules for each area?
Area, if your area is like your station, when we're talking about CNC sorting, yes, it does. You can see your daily schedule, and the people on the shop can consult. So the guy at the CNC, you can make sure that he only view what is in the CNC. So he does not view all the other workstation. He's only going to view that CNC, and he knows what you can specify what priority of job you want them to work, and he can view that and say, hey, that's what I need to start at the job, and say when it's complete or not directly in the planning tool also. So yes.
We have a question regarding cost. Someone's asking for just an outline of the cost, but I believe that sorry, just a question about the cost.
About the cost of the software. So if it's regardless to the cost of the software, I will just write to us. It will be a pleasure to give you more information towards that, more details with it, because really the cost is depending of the numbers of users that you want to have access to it. And that's one thing that's really interesting with the web. It's not standalone on the PC. It's the numbers of users that you want them to be connected on the web. So we really adjust the price. Well, the pricing will depend on the numbers of users connection, but you can write to us, and it's going to be a pleasure to give you a quote or more details about the cost.
Can we get an example of what the schedule would look like, the schedule that you mentioned before of each area that was possible to have?
No, in fact, we don't have no Gantt chart scheduling aspect towards that. So our schedule, if we're talking about the planning assistant, it's really the views that we're seeing right here in the calendar. This is what we have. If we're talking about the question, what the daily personnel the view can see, well, if I select the CNC, a lot of people will work with the list like this. So he can see that's on Monday, that's the job I need to do. On Tuesday, that's the work order he's going to need to do. So this becomes his list of working that they're going to see towards that on this CNC, and know what he needs to do on that day, on that activity right there. I wish this responds to your question there. And by the way, if it's not clear, whatever, just let us know. It's going to be a pleasure really to join with you guys and do you more like a personalized presentation also with what the software can do and how it can fit for you guys. Today, it's really to give you like a big overview of what it does, put you guys inside a little bit the aspect towards that. But if you have if it's not clear or you want to have more detail, write to us. It's going to be a pleasure to join and have a private session with you guys to explain more about it.
A few more questions coming in. Does this take over our current calendar app?
If you do have already the planning assistant or the production coach calendar already in your case, yes, that's the new version that we created that's going to take over the old calendar that was standalone. So this one will be the new one. If you want to go forward or have more information, you can write to us or just open up a ticket with the support, and we'll make sure that you guys get updated if you're on board on support.
Perfect. Can you see how many days before delivery per job in the calendar view?
If you can see how many days.
Can you see how many days before the delivery per job in calendar?
You can see the numbers of the delivery per job if you want. Like if I'm looking let's say at the CNC, well, in fact, the number that you're seeing 7 or 28, 21 is the numbers of days left before the delivery. So that allows me to know what is my delivery date also towards that. If I select a job, well, I can easily go in and see exactly when is my delivery date also for my job that can be shown. Or if I double click on it, I can see also when is my, sorry, not there, but you can see also where the delivery aspect can be done towards that. So you can see it really with the numbers of days left with the numbers in the bubble right here, or you can see it also when you edit your job like this to see when is your delivery date towards that job.
Perfect. You mentioned that people responsible for certain areas of production would have access to the information. Does that mean that you would need a user for each area of production?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. The last question that came in, can the calendar or list be printed?
There's no direct print directly right here, but I do have some customer that probably will do like a print screen and just print it out. But the key point is mostly to have it less paperless, more dynamic if you want to. So the list, you can go in and print it using, if you want the print here, or print screen if you want to see the result of what the screen's going to show. But you can also just have a tablet if you want to, or it could be also shown directly on a smartphone if they want to see what's going through, or just have a small little screen. You don't have to have performant PCs inside of the shop, since it's a web page, what's being displayed. So the key point is that they have access to, if you do a change, if you add something, automatically they will be informed without reprinting the paper towards that. Or else you can just use the print right here or print screen to print it out there. So I don't know if this follow up the questions that there were in. I think that's pretty much it, Sarah.
Yeah, no further questions have come in.
Great. So I really want to thank you all for being there today and participate to our webinar. I wish this was good for you guys. You learned a little bit stuff. It was interesting. And if you want to have more information, like we said, you can give us a call, write to us, write to your regional rep, and it's going to be a pleasure really respond to your question. And if you want to have more details, well, it's going to be a pleasure to do a one-on-one presentation with more details and give you more information. So thank you very much for your time today, and wish you a nice end of day. Thank you.